How's it going, guys? My name is Mezzo Italiano, but you can call me Eric. And in this video, I just want to give you guys my thoughts on Star Wars Battlefront, the EA 2015 game. And it's kind of a lot to talk about, so I'm going to go quickly, but I'm just going to give you sort of a summary of what I like, what I don't like, and how I think they might be able to improve or fix the things that I don't like. So without further ado, let's get right into it with the likes. Although I just want to give you guys one quick note. The reason there was no intro screen or anything on this first game in this video is because I just forgot to click record while the intro was going. So you didn't miss anything. It just cuts right in. And there's two games in this series or in this video. So what do I like about the game? Well, visually, the graphics are outstanding. It's I would say definitely the best looking game I've ever seen in my life, hands down. Like, it's not even really a contest. The only other possible contenders would be some of the Battlefield games, but I really don't think they can match what this game has in terms of graphics. It's just beautiful. It really is. Now, it doesn't hurt that I have nVidia GTX 980 Ti graphics card, but I mean, even with lesser cards, you could still get excellent. Like, this card is definitely overkill. Mine is. You could definitely get 60 FPS on Ultra with something less than a 980 Ti. And if the game looks a little bit like stretched or weird to you, it's because I play on a 85-degree field of view. So just keep that in mind. You should definitely up your field of view from like 60. If you play on 60, it's way better. And then, other than like the graphics, the only thing that I really like about this game are that it definitely captures Star Wars, the idea of Star Wars, the feeling of Star Wars. The locations are excellent. Like, just when you're in a map, you really feel like you're in one of the planets on Star Wars, or in Star Wars, in the Star Wars universe. Sorry, I just bumped the mic. And then another thing that really makes this game capture Star Wars well is the clutter and objects, just all the stuff that's sitting on the maps. Like, the maps are very well decorated, and I really feel like I'm playing Star Wars. Like, for example, in this map right here, it definitely feels like I'm playing on Star Wars and not just some snowy, icy map. And the last thing, as far as like capturing Star Wars, is sound. This game sounds like Star Wars. I mean, you could play this game, you could play just a 5-second clip of audio clip of this game with no video, and I could tell it was Star Wars easily. It's great. Unfortunately, this is kind of where my list of things that I really like ends as far as this game goes, because that's basically all there is to really like about this game, unfortunately. Now let's get into what I really don't like about this game. What stands out to me as like issues that this game has. I'm going quite quickly. I just looked up at the timeline and realized that I have a lot more time than I thought. The first thing that I really can't stand about this game is the radar. It is just a sorry excuse for an in-game map. It's absolutely abysmal in the way it behaves, and I don't know. That's sort of disappointing because there are other games that have gotten the radar down really well previously. I mean, for a decade, radar in-game has been good, and this game just does not have a good radar. And there are two main problems with it, and you can definitely look in the bottom left and understand what I'm saying. So as you can see, it's divided. The radar is divided kind of like a pie into several segments, and there's a sort of thick, closer segment closer to you, and then there's sort of a thin strip on the outside of the outer segments, and so you really get a very poor idea of distance. I still don't know what distance is represented by that inner segment, and then what distance is represented by the outer segment. Where does the end of the inner segment go to? No idea. And then when does the outer segment end? I really have no idea. It's useless. And the other problem with it is that sprinting puts you on the radar. If you play and you didn't know that, there you go. If you don't play, then you wouldn't have known that, and I'm sure you'll agree it's absolutely stupid. The whole point of picking up on footsteps, that's an audio cue. That's something you should hear. There's no reason to have footsteps on the radar at all. honestly, it's detrimental to the way this game plays, and I feel like it's catering towards people who, more casual people who don't have, you know, the equipment that someone more hardcore or more into playing at a competitive level would have, like headphones. I don't know, it's just, the radar is just, it's a sorry excuse for a radar. It's bad. The next thing that I don't like about this game, and this is probably my biggest problem with this game and why I can't sit down and play this game for hours on end, is because it punishes objective players in basically every game mode that is objective. And if you'll notice, the only two game modes, or the only two games I have in this video are both TDM. It's called Blast. The game mode's called Blast in Battlefront, but it's just team deathmatch. And that's because playing objectives in this game mode, or in this video game, is incredibly frustrating. And the reason objective players are punished so much, and it's almost all for this one reason, is the explosives in this game. They're so overpowered. It's insane. I guess in order to really expand on this point, I'm gonna have to give a quick explanation of how the items in this game work. So if you look in the bottom right, there's sort of these 4 distinct slots. There's 3 cards, those rectangular things, and then there's 1 circle at the bottom. The left card and the right card are mapped to 1 and 3 on the keyboard. I'm not sure about console. And in those slots you can equip a whole host of items. And you have unlimited of them, and there's just a cooldown for using them. And you can very easily equip, as I have here, a thermal imploder. That's on the left, just a grenade. Not thermal imploder, I'm sorry. Thermal detonator. Thermal imploder is something else. And then on the right is the impact grenade, which is just a grenade that explodes as soon as it hits the ground. And you can have those two in unlimited amount. And the issue is that you can just sit back away from the action, never jumping in, and you have unlimited of them. At least if there was like a limited number, like in Call of Duty or Counter-Strike or something like that, in order to get more, you either have to pick them up off a body or you have to die. Well, in this game, you just get unlimited of them, and all you have to do is wait a little while, which is just dumb. And then the other issue is the second card, the middle card, it has a cooldown, but it also has charges, and you can get charges by spending the in-game currency like you just saw I earned there. Or you can pick up like charges one at a time in the maps. And you can equip in that slot an ability called Barrage that is 3 grenades thrown at once, meaning that you can have 5 grenades at your disposal, able to throw in 1 second if you need to. And so you never need to peek out of cover, you never need to change where you are in order to kill someone. Like if they're in cover, you could just throw a grenade instead of changing your angle to get a different visual on them. It makes it impossible. Like if you're trying to capture one of the drop pods in that drop zone game type, even if you're using the pod for cover, you're not safe, and you can't just like kill one guy on one angle and then run in at a safe like angle relative to the enemies and use the pod as cover, because they'll just launch a grenade. And it's the grenades are so lethal too, you know what I mean? The lethal blast radius is gigantic, and especially with the impact grenade, it has become sort of like the panic knife of this game. Like in Call of Duty, people, get scared or come in close contact with an enemy, they just knife and they get that huge lunge and kill the enemy. Well, people now fall back on this impact grenade because you can almost, even if you're losing a gunfight face to face, you can almost always get the impact grenade off, and as long as it lands somewhere near the person you're fighting with, you'll get the kill. It's so anti-competitive, is all I can say. It makes this game very frustrating to play in objective game mode. And then the other thing that I haven't talked about yet is that 4th slot down there, and that's there. You just pick up like power-ups, and I think I'm about to actually right here in this gameplay. One of the power-ups you can pick up is a thermal imploder, and it's just a thrown. It's like a grenade. It's a thrown object, but the lethal kill zone is as big or bigger than the lethal kill zone of like a Predator missile from Modern Warfare 2. It's huge. It just kills everything, especially in enclosed spaces. You can't get away from it. Like if one gets to your feet, you do not have enough time to run out of the lethal blast zone. Even if you were to throw one directly at your own feet so that the fuse was just starting, you couldn't get away from it. It's so overpowered. It's absolutely insane. So that's why this game is just useless in objective game modes, and you know, I'm gonna keep going. I want to at least get to the max level and try out all the abilities and stuff. But right now, I just can't have any fun playing an objective game mode in this game. And the last thing, or another thing that I'm gonna talk about is just like my nitpicks of this, like just small things that just annoy me. The first one is the objectives are never on the scoreboard. Why? Like, Call of Duty's been doing this for several games now. It's really, really easy to do. The game already counts how many objectives you got. They just need to add a number on a scoreboard. Like, it's not hard to do, and it's not like it hurts adding it. Even if people like aren't thinking about wanting it, it does not hurt to add. I don't understand. It blows my mind how this could not be on there. Second little nitpick is when the match ends and it says victory like you saw in the last match, and you can't pull up the scoreboard. Like, I don't understand why. Again, it's just a little nitpick, right? Because as soon as you get to the match summary, there's a scoreboard. But right at the end of the match, or right as it ends, is when I want to look at my score the most, and you can't pull up the scoreboard. Last thing is, one more nitpick. The collision on some maps is bad, and what I mean by that is like the collision with the ground and objects around you is bad. And most notably on the Endor map. I don't know what the name of the map is. I think like it might be called Swamp Crash. It's the Endor one with the Ewoks. There's so much foliage on that map and some other maps, and the collision with them is bad. Like, you'll get caught in certain places, walking around feels very glitchy, and it's just not very tightened down. It's not very good. Like, it's just not. They didn't do a good job. And you also sometimes it'll just slide off of surfaces that you really shouldn't. Like, walking across on the Endor map, walking across one of the numerous log bridges is very difficult. Like, you have to enter it directly parallel to the direction of the log. You can't come just from the side. Kind of like how in Black Ops 1, if you were climbing a ladder and you didn't get it on it perfectly centered, you could climb for a little bit, but you'd end up climbing off the side, and you couldn't fix it without lining up perfectly with the ladder. And there's a lot of just things like that, and you can also get stuck in certain places on the map where you just can't move. Especially on the Endor map. Okay, we have how much time left? Not much. So, what do I think they should do to fix this game or improve it? Well, number one is if they want any experienced gamer to enjoy an objective game mode in this game, they need to fix explosives. They need to somehow limit the amount you have, or limit how powerful they are. They could either add some kind of drawback to your player or whatever if you equip a certain number of grenades, or they can just add a numerical cap. Like, maybe you can only equip one explosive in slots 1 and 3, only one of your 2 cards can be an explosive, or something like that. Just some sort of numerical cap to keep it from happening, because otherwise I can't play an objective game mode and have any fun in this game at all. And then the only other thing I think they could do, well, not the only other thing, but the next most important thing would be to add some kind of reward for playing the objective. I know that actually, do you even get points for capping a drop pod or something? I'm not even sure. But there should be some kind of reward or something to get people to play the objective and not just prey on not just sit back and throw grenades at people who are playing the objective. So, sorry, this is kind of a rant, and I gave a pretty negative impression of this game, but unfortunately, that's just the impression this game left on me. The game's not very good right now, and I hope that EA and DICE can get their shit together and help make objective gameplay better, but honestly, it's EA. I don't know. We'll see, guys. I'll make another video soon.